over here is the 4-year university, and that will actually start construction. That's right there. That will actually start construction after the high schools are done, after all the rest of it is done, so we don't have to jump on that. But we're going to make sure that, and it'll just be an expanded version. It will cater to 10,000 students. You can see on the right of where the bungalows are. We have 20 acres for bungalows. It's 300 bungalows. They're in a fourplex. And so the fourplex, each person who lives on site will have their very own 1,000 3-bedroom, 2-bath bungalows. It will be theirs. It's part of their salary. It's part of, you know, being part of the school. Because one of the things that I wanted was to change the concept of when people live in an environment and they're worried about paying their bills and they're worried about their taxes and they're worried about PG&E and all the things that we stress about. You know, this is a whole new way of living, and Galen and I have talked about it. What I'm actually doing is creating a utopia, and I'm going to say 20 years ago I had coined a phrase called Neotopia, the new utopia. And what I want to do is to create an environment where people are constantly improving who they are, their education, how they look at life, by learning from each other, and by being able to get out into the world and find a place that they're completely happy with everything that they're doing in their life. Because that's the thing that I see is wrong here in the United States specifically. You know, we actually live to work, and in Europe, they work to live. And, you know, people from Elite Leads that are here, you've heard me say that 100 times, it really irritates me because we're missing our lessons. We're so busy surviving that we don't get what our lessons are. We're avoiding our lessons, which means we're not progressing, we're not learning, we're not moving forward. So this is one of the things with the school is we'll be able to keep not only the children, but the adults will be able to learn. We're going to have programs that you won't even, we're going to do levitation, aren't we, Galen?
All right.
We're going to teach levitation.
I'm ready.
Did y'all see that video? What is his name? Mr. Head? I showed you. Mr. Head? Mr. Head?
Special Head.
Special Head, that's it.
Oh,
So
right,
Special
right,
Head,
right.
he's on America's, you can look on YouTube, and he's standing, and he's doing the chant, right, the Tibetan chant, and all of a sudden, and his feet come up and he's doing the cross, and he's just levitating off of the floor. It is amazing. So as I told Galen, we're going to do levitation. We need 82 acres, actually half of that, but we're going to have 246 milk cows to produce 4 cups of milk a day per child. That's what it takes. So being the math person that I am, I had to go back to the numbers. Everything had to be checks and balances. We need 500 acres to support the cattle, which take 500 acres, and we actually need 1,400 head of cattle, and the 500 acres will actually support a total of 1,440 head of cattle. And if you didn't know this, other than Ruby and Galen, most people consume 200 pounds of beef a year. So I just use that number, and if the average steer is 800 pounds, now I know how many head of cattle we have to have. So, you know, this is just a way of keeping up with the food. And we're not going to, you know, demand that the kids eat meat or be vegetarian, or they're going to learn what they want. So it's a big part of, you know, teaching them to really get down to that level of what's important to them. You know, how do they want to live their lives? So by the time they finish their high school, they're 3 years there at high school, and it is 12 months around the year. There's going to be a lot of, I'm actually talking about looking for a New Orleans paddle boat.
Have fun. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So I was looking up, I can't find one for sale yet, but because we're on a 30-foot river, we could take the paddle boat 12 miles to the ocean.
Wow, that's
Wouldn't that be cool? And they have normally 200 people. Well, this could be like an incentive for the kids that want, you know, go down on Sunday and spend the day at the beach and, you know, have something that's a little unusual. We'll be having buses that the entire 6,000 kids can be on these buses, and we can go out to the Mayan rooms. You know, again, it's field trips, education, and doing things that really inspire these kids to learn in a different way. So all of the education is in multimedia. A year ago, Ruby and I went up to Sacramento and we met John Moore, and John Moore moved to New Mexico, and he went to Phoenix for a class, and while he was in Phoenix, he met Ted Fujimoto. I love that name, Ted Fujimoto.
Just rolls off the tongue.
I like that dude. Ted is the person who actually started he's the partner in the multimedia education that is up in Napa. And Ted is now the head of our education development. So he's going to be creating the curriculum. He's going to be helping Robin find teachers that want to come down, you know, for a year, teach classes there because they're already familiar with the multimedia education. So you can see that this is really mushroomed, you know, and in the last 6 months it's just developed tremendously. It's just so much more information has fallen into place. You know, we even have now our first order of business, the things that we have to do as soon as the funding comes in. So when you get an email or a text, I've got you all in both text on the phone and email, and when you get an email that says I'm going to Switzerland, you know it's a done deal. So as soon as you get that notice, then Lena and Ray and I are going to meet in Belize. So I go to Switzerland, I meet the bankers, they get me signed on to the account. The account has been open since March 1st, but there's no money in it. So it's okay, it's open. So we'll go down there, and then we have Phil in Florida, who is the site manager for our girls' campus. And so all 4 of us will be down there looking at the land. I happen to know that this is our property. I haven't told anybody down there that I'm interested, but I know this is our property. I feel it. I had a dream about a month ago where I'm walking around and look down, I have combat boots on. I'm going, oh yeah, this is the property. And then the next part of the next scene is where I'm sitting at a big conference table. It's not as nice as this one, but it's a big conference table. It feels like it's in a real estate office, and I'm signing the documents. And I look up and I push the documents away, and I know that Ray and Lena were there, and we just kind of look at each other, and it's like, okay, we're on our way. And then the next scene, I'm actually in one of the main auditoriums with the kids, and I'm leaning against the doorway, and there's ping pong tables, and there's pinball machines, and there's pool tables, and I'm just leaning against the doorway, and I'm just looking at how happy these kids are. And I mean, there's the chills again. I just cannot believe sometimes that my dreams are putting me there. They're always, and I used to future dream all the time, but it's been a long time. Now this is getting close, and I'm future dreaming again. I'm putting myself right in that position. You know, I can hear the equipment running. I can, hear the construction noises. I can feel it now 24 hours a day. And I feel the vibration of what is happening. So we are moving forward. So what I would like all of you to do is just go around the table and